Hey guys, so we're back again today with yet another amp demo, and we've got the brand new Synergy SYN-20IR 20-watt EL84 amp right here on the bench today. So this thing is pretty darn cool. So if you don't know about the Synergy system, basically it's a modular system that allows you to swap in preamps from different guitar amplifiers, and then this is kind of the first unit of its kind where it's like actually got a tube power amp in it as well, and IR loader. So you can plug this into a cab, or you can plug this direct into a PA or direct in for recording. Right now I don't have a cab attached. We're just going direct into the interface, into Logic. And the only thing I've got on the back end is just a little bit of reverb, no EQ, no processing, nothing else. So these are sort of the raw sounds. So I have spent some time playing this through an actual cab, and I can tell you it sounds really big for an EL84 amp. It does not sound like a typical EL84 amp. Like for example, I've got it on the clean channel right now, which is just a volume and a tone control. The tone knob set at noon, the volume's just at like 1 or 2. It's a really loud clean channel. So. By the way, I'm using a Jackson Super Strat here, so I get some humbucker and single coil action going. Yeah, so that's the clean channel. You know, you've also got a reactance knob over here, which kind of changes the resonance, presonance, and sag. So if I take the reactance knob all the way to the left, this is the tone you get. And if I take it all the way to the right, you get this. Okay, and then back in the middle, you get that. I like it just around 1 o'clock, right here. Yeah, so it's a great clean channel. It's very Fender, very black-facey. I have 2 gripes with it, and that is, number 1, it's pretty much impossible to get any breakup out of it until you get the volume knob almost all the way up, at which point you're going to be clipping your interface and it's going to be insanely loud in the room, even with the master volume. So I wish there was a way to sort of get the clean channel to break up at lower volumes that wasn't so loud or clipping, because there's no output control for the XLR in the back of the amp. Maybe they'll be addressing that in the future. I hope so. Okay, so now onto the module. Today we have the Soldano SLO2 module in there. It's the only module I have for this right now. It sounds awesome. So if you're not familiar with this amp, it's like the quintessential 80s rock amp, you know, so it's like... so you can just go on and on. That was on the crunch channel of the Soldano module with the gain at 10, bass at 2, it's backed off a little, treble at 1, volume just up a little bit. Normal, not tight, engaged on that, and so yeah, and you take the gain up a little more, it'll go kind of. So we can just get crazy amounts of gain. Let's jump over to channel 3, which I've got set on the overdrive, which is even more gain. So think. That kind of thing, you know. Basically, it's the Van Halen channel, you know. So that's just a channel that you could just shred on all day, you know. It's fun. Infinite sustain. so let's try some of the different IRs. So right now I've just had it on number 1 for everything. Alright, so let's go back to the crunch channel and let's try it on number 2. Oh yeah, it's more like AC/DC kind of thing. Yeah. Oh. I was gonna. All that jazz. Pretty punk rock if you want it to be. Let's try the third IR. Huh. This is a little more like fuzzy. Oh, love that one. Let's try number 4. Well, I like that one even less. I do wonder if that would be good on the clean channel, though. Oh. No, I ended up back on 1. So that was actually 1. Let's see. So here's 4. Here's 1. So they're not too different actually, at least not on the clean channel. It's more pronounced on the gain channel. So let's go over to the super high gain channel and go through the IR. So here's IR1, which we started with. Here's IR2. Super bassy. Here's IR3 on the high gain. And then here's 4 on the high gain. managers there. So yeah, that's kind of the, sort of the expanse of what it can do with this module in it. I guess my main praises to this amp are it sounds just as good quiet through a cab as it does loud, which for a tube amp is amazing. You can practice super quiet volumes, you don't lose anything, frequency wise, it's great. Things that sort of are a bit of a detractors for me are the clean channel, not really being able to get that to break up super easily unless the volume is cranked, and then it's hard to kind of balance the master with the modules, and it's a tough little dance. And then the other thing would be the volume of the XLR direct out. It's just, especially on the clean channel, it's so loud. It's like I have it at 1. If I push it any higher, it's clipping my interface, and the gain on my interface is all the way down. There's the only other thing I would say is that on the feel of the amp, it feels really good. It's a really fast feeling amp. There is something, if you played tube amps for a long time, and you kind of know the feel of a tube amp, there's something going on between the attack and the decay of the notes where it's kind of hard to explain, but it almost feels like there's some digital element happening, in there, some digital circuitry, and I think it might be the emulation, the reactance, the structure, and whatever emulation is going on there. If there's some modeling in there, some digital component, you can kind of feel it. It's not as noticeable really at all through headphones or recording, but when you get it through a cab, you put it up next to a tube amp, you can tell that it's doing something kind of on the back end, and it's really hard to explain unless you're in the room with the amp. But just know if you're a tube amp, die-hard tube amp purist, you're probably going to play this and be like, oh, this is great, and then you're going to be like kind of noticing, like, well, you play it next to your tube amp, like something's a little bit different here. It's almost like it's too easy or something to play, which sounds a little weird, but you know what I mean if you've played tube amps. I don't know how this would sit in a mix live. I haven't used it live yet. Yeah, so this is just kind of my demo of the amp. It is a fun amp. It's a good amp. I think it's a great value. I think probably for the money, there's nothing better out there considering the expandability you could, with all the different modules they make. For a gigging guy that does a lot of different gigs, a lot of different styles, it's pretty much impossible to beat this. It's portable, it's super light. But I will say, there's something feel-wise I'm missing. And like when you put it on the clean channel and you're playing, it's almost like if you kind of scrape your fingers over the strings like this, it's kind of almost, there's a compression and an immediacy, there's like an artifact thing in the high end. A lot of guys probably won't notice or care about this. I noticed it, and there's a few other things. So it's not a perfect amp, nothing's perfect, no amp is perfect, but there's a couple major things that I wish they would sort of remedy on this. But it sounds great, and it's very versatile, so I do recommend it. But definitely, if you have a chance to play it before you buy it, I would. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.